start. I'll start talking when it's actually all right. Uh, welcome to the podcast. This is I don't know, maybe the fourth or fifth episode of it. Uh, thanks for 10 subscribers. That's a that's a milestone, I guess. Somewhere better than nowhere. Thanks for what was it? What's the total view count that I have right now? It's like 120, I think. But yeah, thanks for that. Um, it's only up from here, and we hope you enjoy the podcast that is being recorded right now. Um, it's me, Jason. This is Mars Talks and all that, blah blah blah. Anyway, let's get to it. I have two co-hosts with me today. Uh, you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I can go first. I'm Naya. I go to school with Jason at Belleville. What else do I say?
I also go to school with him.
Do you guys want to say anything about yourselves? I mean, you guys are like characters, right? You're all characters.
I'm 16.
Me too.
All right, you guys want me to talk about you for you?
Yes.
All right. Naya, I'll go first, Naya. Naya is 16. She loves to swim, or not really. She doesn't really like to swim, but she does it. Um, she's very sporty. She runs track. I don't know. She really enjoys that. I know I hate it. Um, she's a very smart person. I've known Naya for 4 years, right? 5 years, something like that. And yeah, that's Naya, and we have Taylor over here. Um, Taylor's been mentioned on the podcast before. I've known Taylor for 8 years. Taylor loves fashion, and she wants to move to New York to become a fashion something. I don't know what it was. Um, I mean, she likes anime. I think I introduced her to one of her favorite animes, Hunter x Hunter. Um, she likes animals. She has a cat. I forgot what the cat's name is, and she has two dogs. One of whom she doesn't really like, but I think she likes like begrudgingly. I don't really know. Um, but yeah, that's Taylor too. You know, we had their mutual friend. I mean, like all mutual friends, I guess. We're all mutual friends, I guess. But I had their friend Ariana, on the podcast. Well, I don't know, 2 episodes ago. When we talked about all the stuff and all the stuff. So that's them. I've introduced them. You know, hopefully we get to see the characters they really are in this podcast, and just whatever. Uh, so you guys chose the topic, and what was that topic?
Toxicity.
Mm-hmm. So I don't really. I mean, I guess I've thought about. I guess I could direct the conversation, even though it's a free form conversation. Well, let me ask you, what do you guys want to talk about with toxicity?
Nine.
Well, I guess we can hit a few high school aspects about it. I didn't really have a definite, topic about it, but
All right.
got some idea.
Well, in that case, let's go over the definition of toxicity first. Let's just go over our own definitions, and then we can maybe do a Google search on what they say. So, as co-hosts, I'll let you guys go first. You guys can choose amongst each other which one of you guys want to go first.
I'll go first. So I think it's being like manipulative especially only thinking about yourself like a narcissist kind of. Um, and just not being healthy in your nature with any type of relationship.
Okay, okay. That sounds
Um,
pretty solid to me. How about you, Taylor?
I think it's when people will make you feel bad about yourself or your relationship with them in order to help themselves.
Okay, okay. Um, my definition of toxicity is, I guess, being a malicious person with the intent of uh serving yourself and not as and in turn, harming the people around you. Being toxic is not necessarily something, I guess I would say, that's a conscious action, but something that people learn through their experiences, I guess I would say. It
Okay.
could be with a boyfriend or girlfriend, it could be with parents, it could be with husband and wife, it could be brother and sister, it could be friends. Any relationship can be a toxic one. But the definition I got from Google right now, from psychcentral.com, says, well, it's the signs that you're surrounded by a toxic person. And I'm going to read it verbatim. Gail shared these signs. You're emotionally affected by their drama. You dread or fear being around them. You're exhausted or you feel angry while you're with them or after your interaction. You feel bad or ashamed of yourself. So, I mean, I think that's a pretty good definition. Another thing I just saw right now, it's the 7 signs according to Reddit that the person you're around is toxic or that you are a toxic person or, blah blah blah. It says you're left feeling emotionally exhausted after an encounter with them. They try to intimidate you to get their way. They try to control you using guilt tripping. They are easily jealous. They get jealous. They give backhanded compliments, and they overshare. Um, yeah, I guess that sounds toxic or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good understanding of it.
All right, so I guess let's start with All right, let's rate each. Let's talk about All right,
Let's talk
so
about how it starts and where it comes from.
all right, yeah. So I guess I'll go first this time. My theory
Okay.
on toxicity, or what makes somebody toxic or where it comes from, is, I guess I would say, a history of being or getting what you want and being self-serving. Um, well, not getting what you want in every sense, but getting what you want when you want it, and through, I guess I would say, malicious or almost, I guess I would say, undeserving means, or maybe through manipulative means. So like toxicity, um let's say I, for example, always get what I want. I've always been this person that always gets what they want, and if someone were to oppose me, they are now my enemy. Even if they are my friend, I have to oppose them because they oppose me in whatever
So
context.
would you
I
consider
whether
yourself toxic?
would I consider myself toxic?
Yes.
No, not really, not at all. I think I'm a very genuinely good person.
Okay.
Um, but like it's like you don't get what you want, and so because you don't get what you want, and you always get what you want, you resort to other means of getting what you want, and that is generally through manipulation and emotional outbursts that are almost premeditated and controlled to a sense.
Uh,
Um, so yeah, I think that's where it comes from. How about you, Naya? And do you think you're toxic?
um, I I wouldn't consider myself toxic. I would say that I have a few traits of it, but I wouldn't say I'm toxic. Um, I think it comes from what you see and what you were raised around. Like if you're seeing your parents acting like that, you would be like that. And I also think that it comes from issues within. Like sometimes I think it has something to do with self-confidence and your own personal image of yourself and others. So yeah.
All right. How about you, Taylor? Do you consider yourself toxic, and what's the origin of toxicity for you?
I do not consider myself toxic. Like Naya said, I think that I might have a few toxic traits sometimes, but in general, I don't think I am. I think that I'm pretty genuine when it comes to like other people and stuff. Um, and I think that I don't really think there's a solid origin of toxicity. I think that like some people are just like that and some people are, but I don't think that like people are gonna be toxic people if they respect you and if they actually care about you.
Yeah, I agree that it's changeable.
I think I wouldn't. I kind of have to disagree in that sense. I think, well, I agree and I disagree. Well, I disagree in the sense that people that care about you won't be toxic to you. I think that people that care about you definitely can be toxic to you, um, especially if they care about you enough to manipulate you, if you get what I'm trying to say. Like, you love somebody so much and you want to be with them so much that you will guilt trip them into being with you, or whatever it is. I think that's how a lot of abusive relationships, happen. If they didn't care about you and, it was just a matter of she's with me right now, then I don't think they would, go through the length of being toxic and just using that brain power.
I don't think it's love though. I think it's like a power thing. Like
Maybe.
if you can manipulate someone, why not?
I guess.
Um, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like people are both ways. Sometimes it's really hard for them to get rid of it. Like it's a really bad habit for them. And I think that they eventually change for someone that they are willing to change for. And then I also do think it's a power thing for other people.
All right. So, toxicity at school. I mean, I, I, I don't think I have any stories of. Well, I guess. Well, not really. I don't really have any stories of people being toxic to me, or at least none that I let, or none that happened for any period of time to make it a story out of it. Um, I think I've generally, chosen who I've been around very well, and if things change with them, then things change, and I adjust accordingly. Um, so yeah, I mean, do you guys have any stories of toxic people or times you've been toxic or anything toxicity related?
I don't think I do. I don't think that I've ever had someone like be toxic to me because I feel like if like it ever starts, then I just like dip, like I'm out.
Hmm.
I have a few times. Mine were like friendships and relationship wise though. Like they're really manipulative, controlling type of situation.
Why don't you tell us about it, Naya?
Um,
I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to.
I will. I will.
Okay.
So it was like a young relationship. I wouldn't even consider it a relationship. It was just like a little high school thing. I was in eighth grade. They were in ninth grade. And it was just like a, you're not seeing me, I'm gonna make you see me, like a whole bunch of stuff like that. And eventually, I picked up some of those traits, and then I left the relationship. So, yeah.
Okay. Um, any other stories?
They're all kind of like that.
I mean, all right. I'm assuming you don't want to go in depth with it, and I guess I understand that. Do you have any stories of you being toxic?
Yes.
Would you like to tell those?
Yeah, I will. Um, I was, before I was put in my situation that I was put in now, I didn't like to talk to just one person because it protects your feelings just in case the other ones don't do what you want them to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to like be like, okay, I'll just ask the next person. I will say that to the person that didn't give me what I wanted. And yeah, I had to get rid of that trait. What about you, Taylor?
I can't really think of any times that I have been purposely toxic to someone. I just don't think, yeah, I can't think of any times like that, especially with friendships. I feel like I'm a really genuine friend.
How
Okay, yeah,
about,
I've never done it with friendships,
I
but
mean,
relationships, yeah.
do you have any stories of where you've been unconsciously toxic and you just not, and you recognize that? Where do
Um,
you?
I can't think of any. Nobody's ever told me if I was.
Well, I mean, did you ever think you were acting toxic after you reflected
No.
on it? Okay. What about you, Naya?
Um, I've had people tell me when I don't get what I want that I act a certain way,
Mm.
but that's about it.
All right. Um,
What about you?
I don't think I can't really say I've ever been a toxic person consciously or unconsciously, especially since um, it may not seem like it to the average person, but I think about my actions almost constantly and what I'm doing. Everything I say is pretty calculated, even if the calculations come out wrong and I say, and I make a mistake, I'm always thinking about what I'm trying to say. Um, so I don't think I've ever been consciously toxic. Um, I guess I'd say I've allowed things to happen, but I wouldn't say it was toxicity, mainly because I told them, what was going on and how things were happening. I just allowed things to happen because they were going to happen anyway. There's nothing I could do about it. I've talked to people and stuff like that. Um, it seems like this whole toxicity. Yeah, pretty much that. I've generally been a very upstanding person, I guess I would say, even at least in my own mind.
Has anybody ever tried to call you out on being toxic?
Call me out on being toxic?
Hmm.
Um, no. I think generally I get along with everybody that I meet, even if I don't necessarily like them, I'll get along with them. I don't think anybody's ever really had a genuine problem with me.
Okay.
So it seems, I guess, to ramp up the conversation a bit, since it seems things are kind of slow right now. Let's just talk about high school behaviors in general, and I guess that can tie into toxicity, because like high school's a weird place, or at least upper middle school to high schools. It's a really weird place, where we're all just growing into ourselves, and we're experimenting with who we are and who we're friends with and what we want to do and all sorts of things, So I mean, I don't I can say I've definitely changed as a person since I'd say 7th and 8th grade. I've definitely changed as a person, but I wouldn't say I've radically changed who I am, if that makes sense. My personality is still intact. It's just the level of maturity and understanding of the world around me that's changed. So like for example, yeah. Okay. So I'd say 7th and 8th grade is when the things really started, and it kind of just became this. I wouldn't say 7th and 8th grade. I'd say all the way back in like 5th and 6th grade, actually. But me and my friends used to have this culture of just constantly disrespecting each other, and it was always friendly, and we were always friends, or at least I considered it friendly. But the more I look back on it, the more I see that as inappropriate, and that friendships don't really need to be that way. They can be much more friendly, And I guess it's different with guys. I mean, I think with girls, it's always been, or at least from what I've seen, it's always been a generally friendly thing. Girls always have each other's backs and stuff like that, and if you're friends at least, But like we would always insult each other. We'd always disrespect each other and stuff like that. And I remember one of my friends. I'll just call him. I'll I'll call them J, G, and I. They're not. Well, G is still my friend, but J and I, they are not my friends anymore. I talked about that in one of the previous podcasts. But we would always play Xbox, live together. We'd always play games together. We'd always play co-op together. We'd always, squad up or team up or whatever people call it these days. I haven't played a multiplayer game in so long. But we'd always be so mean to each other. We'd call each other like retards and stuff like that. And I guess, we were always joking. We'd always get at each other. But sometimes we went too far, Like for example, his grandfather had died recently, when this happened. And I guess he was holding it in, It's kind of like the thing where it's like the sad clown, where the clown is always, acting the way he is, but on the inside he's sad. And so Jay said to him, we were all playing Overwatch or whatever. Yeah, we were playing Overwatch, and he said something that just took it too far. I can't remember exactly what it was, but like I just left the party. I, as in the person I, not me. And he started, you know, talking about something. He was kind of cryptic, and I couldn't really understand him at first. And then things became more and more clear to me. And eventually, he was talking about killing himself and whatever, and he was so sorry about that and stuff like that. And it flipped a switch in my brain, which I think kind of what led me on the path that I eventually went on. But I was like, Jay, you got to say sorry. You took it way too far, man. And Jay was very uninterested in saying sorry and very, what it seemed like, uncaring about it. And I was like, you really messed up. You need to say sorry. And I kind of had to force him to say sorry, I kind of, put my foot down and I said, you need to say sorry, implying, things were going to happen if he didn't. And so, he said sorry. He messaged him and said sorry. And then I started messaging and trying to call him. And eventually I calmed down and, things calmed down and he just started bawling his eyes out, through the mic, because we were on Xbox Live, about how he was sorry and stuff like that. And it was like, oh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And G was there too. And G was just kind of stunned from all of this. So it was only me taking action. And I was like, it's okay, man. I'm here for you. I really do care about you. And, things went back to normal and he went back to being his normal self. I didn't know if he was okay or not, but I was just keeping a close eye on him and what he was saying for a bit. And then surprisingly, G got on this a while later too, and I'm pretty sure he regrets this, and I told him it was a low blow right as soon as it happened. But he was talking about I wanting to kill himself and stuff like that. And I immediately called him out for it, and he apologized for it. But the thing is that all throughout this time, I'm showing that I'm genuinely caring and that I actually do care about, these people which I considered my brothers. And, it never got sent back to me. That love that I showed them never made its way back to me with my predicaments and my problems. And it eventually got to the point where it was just disgusting. It was just, if I had any self-respect for myself, I couldn't be friends with them. First it was Jay, and I talked about that story. And then it was and I talked about that story too. I'll just rehash the story with since I briefly talked about that. It was freshman year of track, and we were just talking with each other, and it was track practice was over, and and I was asking him, why don't you get on Xbox Live anymore to play? And he was like, I just need me time sometime. And I started joking about him needing me time, just being an annoying freshman that I was to him. And he took it too far, and he said, and I made it clear to him at this point that, I had been clinically diagnosed with depression, and I was on antidepressants and all of that. And he was talking, and then he said, oh, you have me time for your depression? And it was very clear that it was a malicious sort of retort to me joking around with him. And I just told him, you took it too far. And I probably should have, well, no, I shouldn't have. But I wanted to, confront him about it and said, you just want me to fight you right here. I will crush you. And, I didn't do that, obviously. And I made the right choice in not doing that. But, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, the people you're around and the people you've been around aren't always the right ones for you, and you realize that they are not who you want them to be. uh, at the end of the day sometimes. So, you know, your friends aren't always your friends, it turns out. Uh, I guess you could call that toxic, right? Maybe. But it's just like it's complicated because it's almost like you gotta figure out who your friends are again. It seems in high school. It seems like that happened with everybody actually that I know, where you came into high school with the friends that you had, and for some reason there's some sort of falling out or disinterest in one another, and then you have to figure out who your friends are again, and it kind of creates these new groups. So, I think I found my new groups of friends. I hope. But yeah. I mean, do you guys have any stories like that? Sorry if I
Um,
was rambling too long, by the way. You guys can interject every now and then and ask questions. It's not like I'm just giving a speech to you guys.
okay. I don't think I've really had a friendship like that. Well, yes, I have, but it wasn't toxic. It was just a really big misunderstanding. But the things that resulted from that misunderstanding happened to just be toxic, like a separation of a friend group and like each of us fighting to keep the friends in the friend group and turn each other on the friend, like on the other friends. So, yeah. But I also think that if we consider that toxic, then everybody has to experience something toxic in their life.
I mean, yeah, I guess it's not necessarily what happened that was toxic, but it was just the treatment and how it was gone about that was toxic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how about you, Taylor? Do you have any stories like that, or just stories of people switching up or realizing that things are not for you?
Yes, I do. Um,
If you say any names, by the way, and they're not okay with you saying their name, just like use an initial or another name for them.
no. So I was friends with this girl. Her name's Olivia. She's a shitty person. Her whole family's shitty. Um,
Wow.
and like she used to say things like she used to say the N word a lot, and I'd be like, "Can you not like say that? Like, can you not?" 'Cause she's white, and she would be like, "It's not that big of a deal." Like stuff like that, little microaggressions. Um, yeah, and so eventually I did cut her off. There's a lot of stuff that she did, but I don't really want to go into detail. But yeah, toxic friend, do not, don't, don't like her. I think that's like the only friend I've had that's been like toxic. I think I'm pretty good at picking friends and like people to be around.
Okay.
Yeah, I was also friends with that girl. She has a weird personal agenda. Like you wouldn't expect some of the things that she wants if she's your friend.
Yeah, and she definitely switches up who she's friends with very, very quickly based on like who's gonna give her what she wants.
Yeah, so I would say that's a toxic trait. Or like a toxic sign.
Um. All right. So I mean, that's another thing in friendships. Often when people split apart or feud or have drama with one another, especially if they're friends, it often splits friend groups apart. I certainly split my friend group apart, and I pretty much just abandoned the people that I had because I realized I didn't want to be a part of that anymore. It just didn't feel good to me, especially with what I was going through at that time. Um, so how about you guys? I mean, with this Olivia character, did you guys have like a splitting up of friend groups or anything like that, or were you? I mean, because usually, people, at least from what I've seen, people usually go into high school as these ginormous friend groups, and they're all very, I wouldn't say cohesive, but they're together. And something happens, and it splits people apart like entirely.
My friend group wasn't really that big to begin with. It was just like me, Ari, Liv, and then Anaya. But Olivia, like once, so Ari had already stopped being friends with Olivia, and I like still was, and that like kind of caused me and Ari starting to like something happened that took me and her to caused me and her to stop being friends, and then like
Wait, say that again. You're getting a little quiet, and you're talking a little too fast.
I said that Ari had stopped being friends with Liv, and then like me and her had stopped being friends, and something else had happened that made us stop being friends. But now the only one in that friend group that I'm not friends with anymore is Liv because me and Ari like made up.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think Ari and Anaya are cool still too.
Yeah, with that situation, everybody just stopped talking to that one person.
Yeah. It like
Okay.
split up our friend group for a minute, but then it was like back to normal just without her.
Okay. So you guys kind of just like banished her from the friend group.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, she did something to almost all of us. Well, at least for me personally, yeah,
All right.
she
I
did
mean,
a lot.
you guys want to talk about that stuff, or
Oh, I
no?
can. I
Well,
can.
I mean,
Um,
it's. I mean, I'm not stopping you guys from saying anything on here. You know, I'm just saying, um, if you guys don't want to talk about it, you guys don't have to. Or if you don't feel like you should talk about it, you don't have to. I'm just trying to get some sort of conversation out of this.
um, personally for me, the situation that happened with me and her was she had a personal agenda to get one of our male friends.
my
That
boyfriend.
happened. Yeah, that happened to be Taylor's boyfriend at the time. And she used me to try to stop being friends with him. Because I guess I was an influence or whatever on him. Because I didn't like them together at all. Not him and Taylor, but him and Olivia. So we stopped being friends for like a month or two over her. But it really was just because of her personal agenda to get him.
All right. Anything with you, Taylor, or were you just gonna say what Naya said?
Um, yeah, that's about it. Just like she's just a bad person.
All right. Um. So I guess I know exactly who you guys are talking about. I'm not gonna say you know who they are. I'm not gonna call them out or anything. Um. But the relationship I have with her, it's kind of weird because I'm friends with both parties. I guess I'm just this person that walks both lines, and I don't ever interfere. I try never to interfere in things like this because it only creates more drama and it just puts me in a bad situation. And, you know, one thing that I've realized, and maybe I should do this, is that sometimes you have to pick a side, um, or you're going to lose both friends or both friend groups. So, I mean, it hasn't come to the point where I've had to pick a side. It's come very close before, but I've always been at least on good terms with both friend groups. Uh, I hear you guys talk about each other all the time. And I don't ever say anything to the other person, but about it. But it's weird, and maybe I should choose a side, and I probably I don't know, but Yeah, I mean, I've always been kind of just this bystander of what's this social war that's been waged between you guys. I've always, kind of just looked on and not really had the clout to do anything or had the will to do anything. Um, so yeah, I mean, that's happened a couple times actually. So like, I remember beginning of, I guess we can say names. We're not saying last names, so I guess it's okay to say names. But I remember the beginning of sophomore year. Uh, this girl named Cameron and her boyfriend at the time, Jacob. They were lovey dovey or whatever until Jacob was just like straight up dumped her for like this girl named Allison. And that really rubbed me the wrong way. Even though I wasn't close with either of them and I didn't really know either of them that well, it really, really rubbed me the wrong way. And it kind of just made me say, what's going on here is wrong. And the people who are allowing this and not calling them out for it are kind of putting themselves in a situation in a position where they're wrong as well, And if if I was in a position to call out what happened, I certainly would have. But the thing is that I did a bit of detective work, some undercover work, to ask people what they thought about all of this, and I mean, this one girl that I talked to, my good friend Cameron's girlfriend, um, I talked to her about it because she was friends with both of them, and she was not happy about that at all. She was very, very annoyed by it. And she didn't like Jacob at all for what he had done. She really thought it was messed up, and I agreed with her, but I wasn't here to, start a coalition of people to go against people and wage this dramatic, social war or anything like that. I was just trying to get a better context of what's going on, just do my detective work. Um, but things like this have happened. Things like that happened quite a lot. High school, actually. Um, I'm not going to go into detail about, the personal things they said about each other, but, I'll just go over the gist of it. But another thing was that happened the same year, actually, and I don't think it was too far apart. And actually, I remember talking to Taylor about this and just being really, really irritated by it. Just like, this one rubbed me the wrong way even worse. But my friend Alyssa and this dude named Gabe, apparently they were talking or whatever, and some sort of sexual actions happened between them. It doesn't really matter what. But Gabe then went, you know, marching around proudly, stating to the whole world, what happened and what he did and what he's gonna do and all sorts of stuff. And I believe, from what I understand, that he threatened to leak her nudes, which I don't know if that happened or whatever, but it really rubbed me the wrong way, and I just saw Gabe in a completely different light after that. I was just disgusted by him, and I remember talking to Taylor. I was like, I'm gonna fight Gabe. Um, I'm going to beat him. I'm going to humiliate him. I'm going to, crush him. Um, and Gabe, is was just this. I don't know if he's changed. I haven't talked to him since, honestly. But he was just this very arrogant, rude person that just it looked like considered everybody beneath him. And Taylor kind of talked me out of it and was like, there's no point. It's not really worth it. And so I said, fine. But from what I understand, what I observed, that split up friend groups too. Split up because there was kind of the boys and there was the girls, and they were together, but not like relationship wise. They were just friends or whatever. And it kind of just like split them in half. The girls went this way and the boys went this way and stuff like that. And I talked to my friend Yazan about this, and like I said, sometimes you got to choose a side, even if it's hard, and even if you don't want to. But I tried to talk to him about it. I was like, you know what happened. You know what's wrong. You got to say something to Gabe at least. And as far as I know, I don't think he ever did. And I from what I understand, that really damaged his relationship with Alyssa, if I'm correct, and I'm not just living under a rock, especially since him and Alyssa were also close friends. But I definitely chose a side that time, even if I didn't make it clear to everybody, and I think, it was good for me to do so. I obviously chose Alyssa. She was very distraught about what had happened, but, she said she wanted to make her own mistakes, which I didn't really understand. That doesn't seem like a very mature thing to say. But, or in the context that she said it. But I made that choice. Have you guys seen friends groups split up even if you weren't a part of them because of stuff like this?
I've just seen a lot of female friend groups get split up because of a boy, and I think that's really like immature. But
I mean, any stories or?
It's not my story to tell, so I can't tell it.
All right. Well, I mean, yeah. All right. How about you, Taylor?
I don't think I'm really aware of friend groups outside of my own. Like the story that you just told, I was a part of that. That's not actually like how that happened, but I'm not gonna say how it is because it's also not my business. Because like, although I was in that friend group, that's not like, it wasn't me. But yeah, I don't really have any stories about other friend groups.
Yeah, and I'm not like yeah, it's messy. And I don't say this to, jab at other people, I think I try to get along with everybody. I'm just trying to tell the story of, or give examples of, what's going on. I mean, another thing is just the behavior that people take on in high school. It's very unsettling to me almost. It's almost like they doing what they do because it feels good, and if it hurts somebody else, who cares? Like I know in the boys' locker room especially, it can get pretty, I wouldn't say gossipy, but just very, not good. People showing other people others nudes who they obviously, showed them in with confidence that they wouldn't show anybody else. Um, People saying they've had sex with this person or that person and how many bodies they have and blah 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 and blah blah blah, or saying this and that and this person's a slut or a hoe or whatever and stuff like that. It's I really don't like it, and I try to keep myself away from that. I mean, I get along with everybody, but I don't necessarily like that many people, for who they are. It feels like it's almost this hive-minded decision to just act that way, where it's like they see somebody else act that way and they think it's, I wouldn't say cool, but they see the perks of it and they see the gratitude that they get from it, or validation, I guess I would say, not gratitude, they get from it, and it doesn't do anybody any good, and it only creates more problems.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I feel like you guys are just really uncomfortable being on the podcast. Is that what's going on?
I'm not uncomfortable.
I've never had myself like recorded talking. You know, it's just different.
All right. I guess I'm more used to it than you guys are. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's messy, and I don't like it. It always bothers me, especially when somebody's clearly in the wrong and it's not just a matter of opinion. Um, yeah. You guys have anything else to say? I mean, if you guys want to switch topics, we can. Or I know Naya, you didn't want to be on it for too long. I don't know what the situation with that is. So,
Um, I don't. I don't really know. Do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
um, sure. You know, we can. I don't know how interested you are in the original topic of what I was going to talk about, but originally, we were planning on talking about movies, and you brought this one up, so I, let you go ahead and talk about it, or let us go ahead and talk about it. Um, so like movies, kind of a hard switch, but movies. Uh, Everybody watches them. Seems like everybody enjoys them from time to time. Some people are more movie buffs than others and have seen more movies than others. I don't really consider myself a movie buff. I rarely watch movies. Or I wouldn't say I rarely, but I casually watch movies. But do you have a favorite movie? Do you guys have favorite movies?
Um, my favorite movie. I don't really have a favorite movie.
Do you have favorites?
I have favorites in categories. Like, if you say drama, I can give you a few.
Go ahead and say them.
I like The Hate You Give. That was one of my favorites.
I love that movie.
Yeah, the book is even better. I recommend the book.
I love the book.
I liked the one about the girl trapped in the Everything, that movie.
I've
I
never
liked
heard of
Everything too.
everything.
I read the book Everything. I think I saw the movie like once. I didn't like it that much. I don't like Amanda Steinberg. Well, I like her, but I don't like that she plays every black character ever.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to read the book.
What's everything about?
It's about this girl who like has a sickness. Well, her mom's been telling her that she has a sickness. Wait, should I spoil it?
Okay, spoiler warning, spoiler warning. Skip ahead, I don't know, 5 minutes if you don't want the movie spoiled. All right, now you can say it.
It's about this girl, and her mom has been telling her whole life that she has a sickness where basically like she can't leave the house because like she'll die. And then she like meets this boy, and like she starts hanging out with him inside the house, and then one day she like she like sees her medical records and like she doesn't actually have the sickness and her mom's just been fucking lying to her whole life. So she like leaves and then her mom is like, bitch, what the fuck? Wait, can I cuss?
Yeah.
So her mom's like, you can't do that. You have a sickness. And she's like, Mom, you've been lying to me my whole life. That's like a little summary. It's really good. The book is.
All right. And it falls under the category of drama, right?
Yeah, like teen drama.
All right. Do you have any favorites, Taylor?
Um, I'm kind of a slut for Marvel movies. I love what what freaking DC movie came out that I actually really like that nobody liked. I like Birds of Prey a lot. I like The Perks of Being a Wallflower, not as much as I used to, but it's still like one of my favorite movies. Yeah.
All right.
What are your
So,
favorites, Jayton?
um, I think so. Me, I usually watch comedies or action movies or sci-fi movies. I don't really watch dramas or thrillers that much. I just recently watched a thriller though slash horror movie. I don't. It wasn't really a horror movie. It was more of just a thriller. I know I'm super late on watching it. But I just watched Bird Box, and I gotta say, well, it's not my favorite. I guess I'll get to that later. My favorite movies, um, like I said, I don't really have any favorite movies, but I have movies that I revere more than others and enjoy a lot. For example, the Star Wars trilogy, the original Star Wars trilogy. I really enjoy that movie, and in fact, I think it had a pretty big influence on my life, or at least more than most movies would. Like if you know me, you know I love sci-fi and pretty much anything Star Wars. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess out of the original trilogy, my favorite movie would be Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. It's probably the most dramatic and just well done of the three. Um, another group of movies that I like is that I like the Godzilla series of movies. There's like what is it, 31 movies
I've
now?
only
Over,
seen one of those. Wait, no. I get those mixed up with King Kong.
I think they're pretty different.
They are?
Yeah, one's a reptile from Japan, and the other's a love story about a gorilla and a woman.
Which one is about the reptile?
Oh my god, Naya. Godzilla. King
Oh,
King Kong's about a fucking gorilla.
I thought Godzilla doesn't have the cover with the animal, the gorilla hanging from the Empire State Building.
No,
Oh,
that's King
never
Kong.
mind. Continue.
Okay, but yeah, I really enjoy the Godzilla movies. Especially like the '90s ones. I forgot which series of. I think they're called the Heisei series Godzilla movies, but and early 2000s. But I really enjoyed those movies. I remember um, back when Mammoth Video was still around in Belleville. RIP Mammoth Video, cool video store. They had a bunch of Godzilla movies, and this wasn't exactly in the age where it was starting to move into the age of digital media and stuff like that. But we were just moving into it, so things were kind of slower. But I remember I chose 3 movies to watch, and I remember one of them stood above the rest. I mean, they were all Godzilla movies, but one stood way above the rest, and it was Godzilla All Out Monsters Attack. No, not Godzilla All Out Monsters Attack. It was Godzilla. Well, yeah, it was called Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah All Out Monsters Attack, and it was just this. It was a movie about, spoiler warning, Godzilla destroying stuff. You know, but basically he was essentially a ghost, or like a ghost with a physical body, and he was possessed by all of the beings who, or all the people who Japan, massacred and tortured and did immoral things with during the Pacific War, which was, World War II. So, all those ghosts, decided to possess one body and go on this incredible rampage throughout Japan, destroying stuff, killing people, and just being generally merciless. And it had other monsters in it too. It had Mothra, who was a giant moth, and what was his name? I forgot his name, but like this armadillo-like monster. I forgot his name. And King Ghidorah, who was a three-headed dragon. I really enjoyed that movie. I really, really enjoyed it. I guess I could tell you why, and it was just the fantasy of it, especially since I didn't comprehend that Godzilla was the villain at that time. But, yeah, I mean, it was just this really cool escape, to another country, not only, but to this world where monsters exist and they terrorize people and stuff like that. And the soundtrack was amazing. I don't know if you guys have ever heard the Godzilla score, but it's iconic. Godzilla has his own star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame or whatever it's called. I don't know. But yeah, I really enjoyed those movies. In fact, I'd consider them a guilty pleasure somewhat because of how cheesy they can be sometimes. I mean, do you guys have any movies that you can consider guilty pleasures?
The Bratz movies. Fucking love the Bratz movies.
The Brass movies?
The Bratz movies, like the
Oh, the Bratz movies. Okay.
Yeah. Love the Bratz movies. Have you ever seen We Need to Talk About Kevin?
Yes.
I love that movie.
It was pretty messed up.
Mine is probably, I like any romantic comedy.
Oh, I thought you were about to say I like Annie. I'm like, okay.
No, I like any romantic comedy. Like, those are my favorite movies to watch.
You have a favorite romantic comedy?
No, because I love all of them. It's just the storylines. They're just
the only
so
romantic, the only romantic comedy I've ever seen was an Adam Sandler movie, and it was called 50 First Dates or something like that.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, it was pretty cheesy, but I
It's
enjoyed
so
it.
cute.
What's a movie that you've ever been the most emotionally invested in, or a movie that's made you the most emotional, whether it be happy or sad or angry? And that was the movie's purpose.
The Hate You Give. That movie made me cry.
The movie pissed me off. Oh my god, I forgot. I was watching this one movie because Anaya told me to watch it, and it like made me so mad that I had to like stop watching it and then rewatch it.
Did it make you mad because it was supposed to make you mad, or did it make you mad because the movie was bad?
It was supposed to make me mad.
Okay. What was it called?
Well, I don't remember. That's the problem.
Okay.
I think it's mad for movies.
There's been a few movies that have made me. There's only one that really comes to mind that's ever made me like genuinely emotional, that it's made me cry. And that was a movie. I remember seeing it with my friend Gabe, a different Gabe. Shout out to Gabe. Um, I think I remember it especially because of what happened on the way into the movie theater. Um, we were, I think we picked up Gabe from like a sleepover or something like that, and we were driving him to the movie theater. And on the way to the movie theater, back when Canton Cinema was Canton Cinema, and not a Planet Fitness. Um, we got out the car and Gabe just immediately threw up, and it was like whoa, and like nobody else was in the theater because it was like I don't know what day it was, but it was like maybe during the school day or something, and so nobody was really at the movie theater, and so like I remember walking inside like can we get some like paper towel or something, and like the people were just like staring at Gabe through like the glass, and it was
Wait,
just
y'all were gonna clean it up yourselves?
it was no, this was in the drive, this was in the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so we were like trying to get paper towel for Gabe because he like had throw up all over his mouth. And so but anyway, we went to go see the movie. I didn't choose the movie and Gabe didn't choose the movie. My mom chose the movie. And I didn't really like the movie per se, but it made me cry. And it was called The Odd Life of Timothy Green. And the end of the movie wasn't, it was sad, And I guess I had gotten emotionally attached to Timothy Green by the time the movie was over, and so spoiler alert, seeing him go away and die or whatever happened, it made me cry. I shed a tear. I didn't really like sob or anything. I just like shed a tear, and I was like, man, I'm crying. But yeah. Have you ever seen a movie that was so bad that it made you angry?
No, I love bad movies. They make me laugh. You know what bad movie? I just watched After with Anaya and it was so bad. But it was like funny. But it was so bad. There's like no dialogue in the whole movie. They just like stare at each other and sigh. And it's like, who wrote this? But it's fucking hilarious.
Well, the thing is that like I enjoy bad movies too. Like the Fred trilogy of movies.
Oh,
I've watched those and I would just like laugh the whole way through because of how bad it is. But like what's it called? Harlock the Space Pirate. It was this movie on Netflix, and I did not know it was a bad movie. So I went into it thinking I'm going to enjoy this movie. And I can tell you, I I was about this movie was like 3 hours long, and I was an hour and 40 minutes in, and I just had to turn off the movie. I couldn't watch anymore. It was just too painful to watch. The animation was horrible. The writing was horrible. You couldn't follow anything because you didn't know what was going on. The dialogue was horrible. Everything was just awful. And it just really left a bad taste in my mouth. And I think, even to this day, I still don't trust movies on Netflix. Because it was very clear that this was like, one of those movies that just go straight to Netflix.
Yeah, the platform was a terrible movie.
Everybody enjoyed that movie,
What?
except for you, it seems.
I mean, like,
what
it had
a
an interesting plot, but I didn't get it.
what was that Tyler Perry movie that came out on Netflix? It was so bad.
I like that movie.
It was a bad movie. You could see the mics in the shots. It was so bad.
What is it?
The wigs were so bad. It was just a bad movie. I have to Google it. I have to know what it's called. A Fall from Grace? Is that it? It's called A Fall from Grace. That movie's
Yes, that's
bad.
the movie.
Okay.
I'd watch it again though. It was terrible though.
What's a movie you've never seen that everybody else has seen?
That one, oh wait, no. I saw the movie, I didn't read the book.
Baby Boy.
I've never even heard of that movie.
You've never heard of Baby Boy?
No.
Oh my God.
When did it come out?
It's like one of those black 90s movies.
Yeah, it's like apparently a classic, but I've never watched it.
Yeah, I've never heard of Baby Boy.
It's a movie that everybody's seen that haven't. I don't know.
I mean, for me, I've never seen a single Harry Potter movie ever.
Oh, I've never watched one of those.
And then another thing is the It series of movies. I've never seen a single Stephen King movie. Um, I've I am I mean I've only seen I've only watched one Marvel movie all the way through, and that was Avengers 2, and apparently that was the worst of all the Avengers movies.
Do you have Disney Plus?
No. Okay, I just pirate things if I really want to see it.
You should just watch them all in order.
Okay. Like chronological order or the order in which they came out?
Chronological order.
Okay. Another movie I've never seen. I remember everybody was talking about this back in 7th or 8th grade, but it was a movie called, we need to talk about the Johnsons or something.
Oh,
I remember everybody was talking about it like
The
it was
one
just,
about, wait,
it's
isn't
like
it about what's the word?
it's like this son that like falls in love with his dad or something, and his dad is like forced into this relationship with him.
Yeah, the incest movie.
yeah.
Yeah. I remember
It
everybody
wasn't
was
even a
talking
movie,
about it. I
really. It was
never
like
saw it.
16 minutes, wasn't it?
No, it was a whole movie. It's on YouTube.
Oh, I just watched the one that was like 16 minutes.
But yeah, that's another movie I've never seen. I just recently saw Bird Box. I still haven't seen A Quiet Place. Um,
I've never seen the new It. I saw the old one, but I didn't watch the new one. Like I didn't watch one or two of the new one, but I watched the one that came out in like I don't know what year it came out, but a while ago.
yeah, neither have I. What's one movie you think is more underrated than it should be?
Mm, that's kind of a hard question for me.
For me, it was Menace to Society. I mean, I know it's not necessarily an underrated movie, but I feel like it just doesn't get as much recognition as it deserves in pop culture.
There's this movie called Suspiria. I think that's how you say it, and it's like the thriller, but the cinematography is so good, and I feel like everyone should watch it.
Okay, okay. Um, what's one movie or movie series you think is overrated?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
But also, I can't really say that because I'm just not interested in it.
For me, it's the Hunger Games series and the Divergent series. I've never
I
seen.
thought those were great.
I never said they were great. I never said they weren't great or anything. It's just like they were way overrated for what they were at the time.
Mm. The books are way better, but the movies were good. Well, Divergent, The Hunger Games, I kind of stopped after the second one.
What's the most disturbing movie you guys have ever seen?
Ooh,
The Platform.
That movie's pretty tame.
I've never seen the
With
Human
them people
Centipede,
standing on the floor.
but the second Human Centipede.
Mm.
I never seen any of them.
The most disturbing movie I've ever seen that I've personally seen and not just heard a review of was Beast of No Nation. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, but it's an excellent movie. It's very, very excellent. It's been Emmy nominated, I think. It's received a lot of awards, or at least a lot of nominations, and it put some African actors on the map. I don't really know how they're doing, but I know it put them on the map. Um, have you guys seen it?
No, I haven't. Isn't it on Netflix?
Yes, it is on Netflix.
Watch it.
It is excellent. It is very excellent, but it is also very gruesome. Like you see a little girl get, stomped out in that movie. Like actually, stomped out to death. And there's like rape and there's child molestation and there's child soldiers and there's
What
killing and
movie is this?
Beast of No Nation.
Mm, I'm not gonna watch that.
Yeah, it has Idris Elba as one of the leads. Um, but it's an excellent movie, and it has a very bittersweet ending. At least I thought of it as bittersweet. But do you have any movies that have influenced your life or had an influence on your life, even if it's something minor? Like for me, I said it was Star Wars. It's just the media I consume and how I spend my time. It's a lot of sci-fi stuff and just universal world building that I'm into and that sort of stuff. And it's kind of, built, you know, what kind of movies I'm into.
Um, Probably My Girl is why I love romances.
And My Girl's a romance movie too.
Yes, it is so cute, but it's like a romance from like a two aspect level. Like the little girl had like a little crush or whatever, and then her dad, who was a widow, I guess. Do you still call men widow?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So he was a widow and he found love too. But it was a really good movie.
All right. How about you, Taylor?
Um, there probably are, but I can't think like off the top of my head of any that have like personally influenced me.
All right. Well, um, I know I'm putting you guys on the spot on this one, so I'll go first. But if you were to create a movie, what would the premise be? What would the story be? And what category would it be? I mean, I can go first if you guys aren't, prepared for a question like that. If you need to think something up, or if you need to remember what you've thought of before. But I have a couple movies.
Mine would definitely be racially motivated
Okay.
because if I could
Mine would be a romance.
use it as a way to inform and educate.
I mean, do you have like a story though, or do you need to like think about that for a bit?
Um, nope, don't have a story.
All right, I'll go first then to give you guys some time. Um, so I guess I have two. Do you guys want me to say both, or you guys just want me to say one?
You could say both.
All right, so I'll go with the one that I thought of a while ago then. So basically, I don't know what I would call this movie, but it'd be kind of an artistic movie, you know. I think I'd make it like a thriller drama movie, but I feel like I don't. But there wouldn't be very many actors in it, and basically, it takes place. So the premise is, I guess I'll say the premise. The premise is this dude learns how to lucid dream, and things are all right at first, but the more and more he lucid dreams, the more and more he prefers his dream world over the real world. And he starts to get addicted to, his dream world. And he starts to depend on it more and more for emotional support. And he starts cutting people off. And he starts taking like sleeping pills and stuff like that, so just so he can stay in his dream world for longer and longer. And live in his dream world. But basically, he's lucid. He learns to lucid dream, and he starts, he doesn't let his dream world can't take control of itself. He takes control of his dream world, and he starts, and that's when all of his most primal and dark and just repressed thoughts come out, and he kind of goes a bit power crazy. Um, so like like for example, the girl that dumped him and that he fell in love with or for whatever, he brings her back in his dream world, and you know, he I don't even know. He just brings her back, and he essentially forces her and his mind to like him and to fall in love with him and to be with him, or like maybe he'll bring back a dead friend and he'll just act like his friend is still alive, and I wouldn't say control his friend like a puppet, but breathe life into his friend and try to imbue his friend with, or his dream friend, with the memories that he has of his old friend and how he would act. And as time goes on, he just devolves more and more into this power crazed madness in which that he only has in his dreams, and it eventually gets to the point where he's essentially become a hermit. He's lost his job, he's lost his relationships, he's lost his family. He's all by himself, and all he has is his bed and his room and his dream world and his sleeping pills and whatever else he has. And he just devolves more and more as a character to the point where he's essentially nothing but his wants and whatever he wants, because he can get whatever he wants. And at the end of the movie, I think I'd want him to die from like maybe an overdose on sleeping pills or something like that, just trying to convince himself that he can dream eternally if he dies or something like that. I think it'd be I think it'd be a very good thriller, disturbing sort of drama movie, especially if it has a high budget, or a budget high enough, that I can, create this dreamscape and all that. I think I'd enjoy a movie with that premise. What do you guys think?
It's definitely different, but if it's interesting, I would enjoy it.
I mean, do you think it's interesting though?
Yes, it would just have to be like executed well.
Yeah. How about you, Taylor?
Watch it.
You would watch it?
Yeah.
All right. And another one I have is way more recent. It's got to the point where I've actually started storyboarding it, because I was thinking about just writing, maybe a novella about it. But basically, I posted about it, actually. I don't know if you guys read my post. I feel like you guys don't sometimes, but whatever. Let's see, where is it? Let me find it real quick. It's gonna take a while. I don't know if you guys have thought of what you said yet, but I guess I'll just freestyle it. I can remember most of what it is, but basically, it takes place in this sci-fi world where humans are still within the solar system. They haven't advanced that far. They can't leave the solar system yet, but humans have essentially discovered immortality. And it takes place, I don't know, 5,000 years in the future. So 8,150. I don't know. Let's just say that for just time's sake. And humans have spread themselves all throughout the solar system. And basically the premise of the movie is there's this mother or this woman who, well, I guess I need to have a backstory before I just explain the premise, because it won't make sense without the backstory. So basically, 100 years ago, from when the story takes place, there was a group of catastrophic events that happened all throughout the solar system and possibly the galaxy and possibly the entire universe, um, in which a baby was born with godlike abilities. And since it's a baby and it has godlike abilities and it was just born, generally when babies are born, they cry. So, it caused a just disruption of nature and life and death and blah blah blah, and it caused these catastrophic events that would be considered apocalyptic on a solar system wide scale at least. And
This kind of sounds like Brightburn.
Brightburn is just a Superman movie.
Oh.
But anyway, uh, they eventually kill the baby, unfortunately, or because they have to. It's a necessary evil to save the entire human species, race, whatever. And so the people in the universe, they create this organization called the Left Hand or the Third Hand. I forgot what it was called. And basically they monitor all births in the universe, and they pretty much outlaw people having children without them winning a lottery in which only 100,000 people a year get to birth children, or at least are allowed to conceive children legally. And so, my story takes place 100 years after that event happens, and there's this woman who is about 500 years old, and she wants a kid. She's lived for 500 years, and she just wants a kid. She feels empty at this point in her life. She's been a lot of things, and she wants to have a kid. And so the chances of her winning a lottery where only 100,000 people win, and there's people all throughout the solar system, is incredibly low. So she conceives a child of her own, with some random stranger. It doesn't matter who. It's not like he's in the movie. And she goes into hiding to keep people from knowing she has a kid. And I guess in the entire movie, she's pregnant and nearing or in the late stage of her pregnancy. And it's just her on the run from the Left Hand or the Third Hand or whatever I called it, and hiding amongst other supporters and cults and stuff like that. And the question at the end, obviously, is this child going to have godlike powers like the child 100 years ago? And I think, and that's going to be like the entire suspense of the movie is, will the baby be born and will it have godlike powers? And I think, that's just the very, very, very basics of it. I actually wrote a whole lot more on my daily life account about it. I can't find the post right now. I don't remember which, image I had it under. But, yeah. Yeah.
That was very detailed. You must have really thought about that.
Yeah,
Like,
I said I
deeply.
storyboarded it. Or started
Oh,
story.
okay.
So, how about you guys? Did you guys think of any movie ideas yet or whatever? Or
Mine would
concepts?
probably be a forbidden, like, love type of movie. Because I just read some books by, like, Sister Soldier, and hers have to do with like forbidden love, so mine will probably be about it because it's on my mind right now. Can I take somebody else's idea? Like, I'll just tell you what the book was about, and it should be a movie.
Okay.
Alright, so basically, there's this guy. Him and his family moved from Africa, and they had like a really high prestige in Africa. They were like rich, of course, and they don't say why they left exactly, but they moved to New York, and he has different principles than everybody else. He's really disciplined and extremely religious, so he like sticks to his morals strongly, and he's like trying to make his way in Brooklyn. So he ends up kind of being a thug, selling drugs, shooting, fighting, blah 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 blah, but still keeping his morals. So he ends up meeting this Japanese girl, and they end up getting married at like 16. But her father doesn't like him, so he kidnaps her and takes her to China. There's a part two of the book, but I just haven't started reading it. But there should be a movie.
Okay. How about you, Taylor?
Um,
Was that your smoke alarm, Taylor?
no, it was my phone.
Oh,
Uh, there's this book called We Were Liars that should definitely be a movie. It's really good and it has a really cool twist ending. But I don't want to say it in case you guys decide to read the book.
Okay. Do you have any movie ideas of your own?
Um, I don't know. I'd have to think about it, but I know that it would, like, I know that if I were making a movie, it would be racially motivated. But I don't know, like, what aspects I would include in it. I have to think
I
about it.
mean, what would be the premise of the movie?
I don't know, cause like I don't have like a base of like, cause like there's a lot of things with race, but I don't know like what direction I would take it in.
Mm. All right. Um. All right. What's one movie you want to see but you haven't seen yet?
I want to see Ma.
Ma?
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Taylor? She's muted.
My bad. Um, what is a movie that I want to see? I've been watching like movies on Netflix that like are coming onto there that I haven't seen. I just watched The Hangover because I hadn't seen that like fully. Um, I don't know. I feel like I don't really see like when movies come out in theaters because I don't have like cable, so I don't watch commercials, so I don't see like them being advertised.
I mean, don't they advertise movies on YouTube though?
Yeah, but I don't watch YouTube. I just like if I go and I watch something, I'm either watching Hulu, I'm on Amazon, or I'm on Netflix.
Okay. How about this? If you could make a movie in your own image, what movie would you make? Like a movie that already exists.
Ooh. Like
Mm,
Because honestly, for me, I'd just redo the whole Star Wars trilogy or the newest Star Wars trilogy because that was a mess. If you guys have
um,
seen those movies.
I love The Hate You Give again, but if it was like the book, it would have been so much better. It was really good, but the book, I would remake it so it's longer.
Would you like to make it two separate movies, or would you just make it, or would you make it like a separate movies out of the book, or would you just make one long movie?
I think one long movie. I think separating it would kind of not do it justice.
All right. Yeah, so for me, it's definitely just redoing the newest Star Wars trilogy.
Mm, I think that I would redo the Perks of Being a Wallflower because there's stuff that happens in the book that like I don't think that they portrayed it well in the movie, and also I would change some of the actors.
All right. All right, here's another interesting one. What is a anime or cartoon or manga or comic or TV show that you would make into a movie?
Mm, I don't. I don't really have one. I don't watch a lot of TV shows. No, The Shy.
The Shined?
The Shy.
Oh, The Shy. What's that about?
So it's a drama about things that happen in Chicago. So first it's like a little boy dies, but then as the series continues, they get deeper and deeper into who killed them, why they killed them, and then they just start talking about like the overall connection between all of it. And it's like even bigger than everybody thought. So yeah, I'll
And you
make
make
that
a
into
movie
a
out of
movie.
that.
Yes.
All right.
Is there a Powerpuff Girls movie?
A Powerpuff Girl movie?
Yeah,
No.
I feel like that would make a cute little movie.
Yeah, it would be.
Would you
Well, I only
make it
watched
like
like one episode
the
of
origins of the
Powerpuff
Powerpuff
Girls.
Girls, or would you like just make it like an episode except it's a movie?
I would make it like it would have its own plot, like not one of the episodes. And it'd be like more like you know how the Phineas and Ferb movie is like
A really long episode?
yeah, but it's like usually in Phineas and Ferb there's like they're just like finding shit to do over the summer, but
Yeah.
that was like more intense. It'd be like that,
Okay.
fighting something bigger, and we would finally be able to see the man.
The man?
Yeah,
Who's the man?
the freaking I oh my god, whenever she's like shown on
I know you're talking about. They don't show his face.
yeah, whenever she's
They
shown
show everything but his face.
down.
I mean, Miss Bellum?
No, it's a dude.
And what is his role in Powerpuff Girls? What does he do?
I have to find his name. Hold on.
Um, I don't know what I would do, honestly. I'm thinking like, ooh, that's a good idea. So I don't know if you guys have seen Avatar: The Last Airbender before. You
I
know, if you haven't, it's an excellent cartoon or anime, whichever one you'd consider it. But you know, I've watched it ever since it came out. You know, I remember I was in kindergarten when the final episode came out and he finally fought the Fire Lord, and I was just like, whoa. But and I remember it was crazy. But anyway, I would create a movie on the what's it called, about the what happens after the show. Because if you guys didn't know, there's actually a comic book about what happens after the show between that show and Legend of Korra, which is the sequel series to that show. So I would make a movie, about I think I'd make it like a PG-13 movie. I wouldn't make it PG, but it would be like you know, uh the aftermath of defeating the Fire Lord and resistances and Azula, still being out there and all that sort of stuff. I think I'd make a very good thriller action movie slash, comedy.
Okay.
I mean, you guys have any questions or, conversation pieces about movies?
No, I'm not really. Like, I'm a movie person, but I just watch whatever.
All right. What's a movie that you regret watching?
Um, uh, mm, I watched this one movie with my parents, and it was like a I'll call it a B class movie. So like it didn't have the clear cameras. It was like a low budget movie,
Okay.
and it was bad, but not a funny bad. It was just a bad. I can't think of the name of it, but it was on Netflix. It was really bad.
All right.
Also, Taylor had to leave.
Does Two Girls, One Cup count as a movie? So I regret watching that.
Well,
I
you gotta
also,
leave, Naya. We gotta leave, Naya.
Oh wait, no, I thought Taylor had to leave.
well, my dad just called me for dinner, but I can finish talking about a movie I regret watching.
All right.
Um, what was it? Oh, The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. I regret watching that as well
Why do you regret watching it?
because it was disgusting. And incest makes me really uncomfortable.
Okay, understandably. Um. All right. Well, I mean, if you gotta go, Taylor, it was good having you on the podcast. You're always welcome back. Um, hope you enjoy whatever you're gonna eat. Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
no problem.
Bye.
All right, see ya. All right. Well, it's now just me and you, Naya. So let's see how long this takes before it fizzles out. Um, I think we're pretty much done with movies. So, um, let's try to switch to one more topic. We got like 17 more minutes until it's 2 hours, and I try to keep it under 2 hours.
Okay.
Um, so sports. How about that? Right? You're a pretty sporty person, right?
Yes, but I am not a person that watches sports.
Neither am I. I hate watching sports. It's so boring.
It's not boring okay, I can watch sports if I'm there,
But you're not
like
gonna like
in the
sit down and
moment.
watch sports by yourself.
Yeah, no. And I have to have something to cheer for.
Hmm. Well, what is the most boring sport that you've ever played or participated in?
Um, I've only done really three sports. I would say swimming.
All right.
If you're just watching it, it's not fun at all.
The most boring sport I ever did was probably baseball. Um,
Yeah, baseball it's an acquired taste.
like there's just so much waiting. And the thing is that there's like a split second of action, but then it's all over. The action's over. And then you gotta wait again. And then it's a split second again, and then you gotta wait again. It's pretty boring. I mean, I think the fun in baseball is actually just watching the game in person, at like a stadium or something like that. Like going to Comerica Park Stadium, that's fun. But like watching baseball itself is pretty boring. Like I'm not about to sit down and watch baseball on the couch or anything like that.
Yeah. Baseball for me, even I've been to like America Park and watched the game, and it was really just a place to sit and talk for me.
But yeah, and you get good hot dogs too.
The smell of hot dogs is nasty.
Oh my goodness, I don't understand how you don't like hot dogs. Comerica Park hot dogs are amazing.
I like brats. I don't really like hot dogs. I'm not a hot dog person.
But what's your favorite sport to either watch or play, or both?
Mm, my favorite sport to watch is most definitely football
And
now.
why is
Because
that?
because our school is really big on football, so they come out with the spirit.
Yeah.
We have a good team, so I can like cheer for them all season.
Yeah, don't people from like all over the state come to Belleville just to play football?
Yes.
All right. Because I remember
And
like some of the football players would talk about how there was like a trailer right next to one of the football coaches' homes or something like that, which they lived in or something.
yeah, it's a lot with that one. But and I have friends on the football team. My boyfriend plays football, so it's like,
Okay.
it's a fun sport to watch for me. What about
Uh,
you?
Um, Now, I mean, I haven't done that many sports that are like I'd consider like sports, you actually sign up for and participate in.
Hmm.
I've only done, t-ball, then baseball, and then I don't know if you'd consider martial arts a sport, but I did that for a while. I took sambo, which is Brazilian jiu-jitsu, modified by
Yeah, that is a
Russians.
sport.
Yeah, I know it's like an Olympic sport, but I don't know if you would like consider it a local thing where it's just like, oh yeah, I'm going to go see it to a martial arts tournament or something like that. But I did that for a bit. Um, I did track, and I absolutely hated it. I hate track so much. Oh my god. And the thing is that like I was really good at track, and then I fell off, and then I stopped training, and I could probably be good at it again if I started training again, but I hate track. So I don't know. I might do track next year, but I couldn't do it this year anyway. But the sport that I fell in love with, even though its training is brutal, like you think a hard sport, like even the football players and the basketball players are like, yeah, this sport is just brutal. The training's brutal, and that is wrestling. Oh man,
Yeah, I heard wrestling was really hard.
it is so brutal. Um, but basically, the coach is an ex-Navy SEAL, and I actually think he taught swimming for a little bit here, or I wouldn't say taught swimming, but coached swimming for a bit. I don't know if he did or didn't. I know.
He does the Navy program and they do swim in his program.
No, I'm not talking about the teacher here. I'm talking about the. I'm not talking about like the Navy dude that just got here for JROTC. I'm
Oh,
talking about
okay.
like he's an ex-Navy SEAL, and his name is Coach Chapman, Doug Chapman. Uh, but he apparently was one of the best wrestlers in the United States. Apparently, like he made nationals and he placed like eighth. So
Oh,
that's
that's
pretty
good.
crazy. But with wrestling, you create a brotherhood essentially of wrestlers and you know, and I guess a sister too, since we have a female wrestler, or at least when I was there. I'm pretty sure she's a senior, so she's graduating. But you know, the practice was insane. It was it was insane. But it was fun. It was fun when you actually got to wrestle, you know.
Well, that's
Um,
good.
yeah. Um, Unfortunately, I was good at it for someone who first year it was and had never wrestled before, but I wasn't good enough to, actually win any matches, if that makes any sense. So, and a
Hmm.
part of that reason was because of my weight class. I'm not built like a 215 pounder, but I am a 215 pounder. Um,
Oh, wow. I didn't expect that.
yeah. So I was in a weight class above where I should be. Um, and so I was facing like 6'3" dudes, who are just as built as I am. And, I'm no slouch when it comes to muscle. I can bench like 225 pounds, but, these dudes were just overpowering me. Like it was strange. It was like I was a baby and they were a grown man and they would just fold me over and pin me. It was crazy. Like it was kind of sad to watch, and it was really frustrating too because I worked so hard all preseason and season to finally get to a wrestling meet and I don't win a single match. Um, and the most frustrating part of that is that my last match I actually got injured and I might actually have to get surgery now on my shoulder because of the injury.
Oh, dang. I never knew that.
Yeah, but after that match, I mean after that meet, coach was not happy at all. He was very, very livid about what happened. And I know in like swimming, you guys had like dead sprints, except in the form of swimming. But like we did like 70 dead sprints
Hmm.
back to back to back. And
Oh,
then he
yeah.
made us do like 4 sets of 69 burpees. And then he made us free wrestle, which is insane because free wrestling itself is just crazy tiring.
Oh, man.
And then I'm one of the people, Jamal, said something like under his breath, and the coach heard him say something under his breath, and he was like, "You know what? Wall!" And so we all ran to the wall. And we had to do more sprints, and everybody was just soaked in sweat, and it was insane. We were all in pain, and we were all sore, and we all had to do sprints and stuff like that. And he was calling us sissies, and it. I'm glad I was injured because I don't think I would have been able to do all that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I mean, yeah. Do you have any crazy sports stories?
Um, it's kind of hard for others to understand because, like, not a lot of people swim. So there's like it's a mile in swimming. So it's not like running a mile at all.
It's
Like it
worse.
is, yes, it is 20 times worse. So we had to do 4 of those.
Back to back?
We had like 5 minutes rest, but that's not a lot for what it was, But that was
Yeah,
really
mile of
probably
swimming sounds like a lot, especially if a pool is just 100 meters or
and
50
four
meters.
laps is 100 meters.
Oh, yeah, that's even that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So how many laps is that then for a mile? If 4 laps is 100 meters and there's four, so that's 4 times 4 times 4. That's 64.
Yeah,
So
let me make sure.
you had to do
Our
64 laps.
Yeah, let me make sure for you though. 88.
88. Oh, wow.
Because it depends on what, like, pool you're in.
Okay.
So it's like most pools are either 20 yards or 25 yards. So,
Okay.
yeah. It's anywhere from 88 to 70.
All right. And you had to do four
4.
sets of that?
Yes. But that
Were
was
you
that was
guys, was
all.
it like a punishment, or was it just like, oh, you guys, what
It
was it?
was just to make us stronger.
Okay.
Yeah, but it wasn't at Belleville. They would never do
Hmm. Well, I guess I have another one. I think you were there for this one, actually. You ran track in the 7th grade, right?
that. No, I didn't.
Okay. So you weren't there for this.
No.
But Coach Crawwell, who is the varsity football coach for our high school, uh, decided he was going to scout middle schoolers through track. And so we're middle schoolers and we're not disciplined or anything like that. But he made us run so much, way more than he made us run like a 5 mile warm up. It feels like, because if you've seen the McBride, field outside, first of all, it's not a track field. It's just a field, and it's way bigger than a track field. And he made us run 5 laps of that. So I mean, I'm pretty sure if you like stretched out a track field and put it around, it'd probably be like a third of a track field. So,
Oh
or
yeah,
maybe
I
half.
remember running that. I ran in 8th. I just didn't run in 7.
Yeah. So, yeah, he made us do that. And if you know me, I have a curved back, so using my leg muscles for very long really hurts me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, like high impact running and stuff like that really hurts. But basically, we were near the end of practice, and Coach McFarland was like, you know what, guys, you guys have been interrupting me all of practice. She made us line up in the parking lot, and she made us sprint, do sprints for, she said, 5 miles. We sprinted 5 miles back to back to back because this one girl named Jordan would not stop talking, and it was awful. It was like, shh, just be quiet, and like Jordan would still be talking, and she'd make us do it again. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. But yeah, I really enjoyed 7th grade track. I was one of the people that carried the team, even though even Coach McFarland said I was helping carry the team. Like people still recognize me from 7th grade track.
Oh dang, that's good though.
Yeah, that was when I made my fastest lap yet, and that was for 400. And that was 56 seconds, and I was just in the 7th grade then. So I'm pretty sure if I actually started practicing again and took it seriously, I could probably shave down a couple seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty brutal. And I remember at the end of the season, Coach Crawwell was like, "I want you as my running back." And he patted me on the shoulder after like he asked me, "What size shoes do you wear?" And I said like 13, 14 because that's what I wear. And he just looked at me and said, "I want you to be my running back," and patted me on the shoulder and walked off. And I was kind of honored, but of course I'm not about to become his running back. I don't want to play football.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just a crazy story. Looks like we're hitting the 2 minute, I mean the 2 hour mark. Surprisingly, I didn't think you'd make it 2 hours, but we slogged through it.
Yes, we did.
So it's time to close everything down. So I guess I got to switch modes to closing things down. So thanks for watching. If you watched all the way through, or if you skipped around, blah blah blah. Thank you guys for 10 subscribers. That is so awesome. I didn't like. I guess I expected myself to get 10 subscribers, but I didn't expect myself to get 10 subscribers in a week and a half. I think that's awesome, especially since I had 0 subscribers a week and a half ago. So thanks for that, guys. Thank you to Taylor. She left, and thanks to Naya. You're an honored guest, just like Taylor is. You guys can come back anytime, alone or with somebody else. Obviously, you guys can choose your topics.
Thank you.
Yeah, and at the end of the podcast, I try to give a phrase, just like a statement, at the end of the podcast. It doesn't have to be related to anything we said in the podcast. Like in one of the previous ones, I said try cold showers, just something like that. So, do you have a phrase you'd like to say? Just think of something.
Dogs are a man's best friend.
Dogs are a man's best friend. Nia Thompson, 2020. So thanks for tuning in. We hope to see you in the next one, and we hope you enjoyed the podcast. Boop boop.